Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. Another subject that I explore a lot is the ability to be able to persuade and influence others. Important in our personal lives, but fundamentally critical in our business lives, whether externally or whether internally to the organisation. In order to be able to communicate effectively, it's a core skill. Now, how do I do that? Well, take this mobile phone for example. I may ask you, do you see this phone the same way as I do? Well, that needs a little bit of thought. We can both see what the phone is, we can see it's a phone. But critically though, you see it this way and I see it that way, which means we see the same phone, but we don't see it the same way, which is why in business we get pushback, whether with our customers or whether internally, we sometimes get pushback to our requests and things that we ask people to do. What I need to do is I need to understand a little bit more about how you see this phone. And that is one of the central principles that I explore on my Persuading and Influencing program. So what's the model we use? Well, we use the push-pull model. And the push-pull model is very interesting because it looks at both pushing information and pulling information. So the four quadrants of the push-pull model are as follows. This is the push side. I push information. This is the pull side. So I'm pulling back information. Now, first element, asserting. I need to be able to assert my views and opinions. I've got to get my point across. You've got to get your point across. I need to get my point across. Thinking about the mobile phone analogy though, I might not quite see that the same way as you do. An example for salespeople would be we put in a proposal and to me the proposal is blindingly obvious. Trouble is the buyer might not quite see it that way. So we need an element of shared understanding. Okay, shared understanding. And we look at the skills in order to be able to achieve shared understanding. Questioning and listening, of course, would be cornerstones of that. That stuff's fine, but what else do we need to do? Well, I need to be able to build my argument. And this is referred to as logical reasoning. As salespeople, one of the areas that we're trying to have a touch point on is the what's in it for me, WIFM, which many of us are familiar with. What's in it for me? And we have to be able to answer that in the buyer's or the client's eyes by way of the argument that we put together. Or indeed, if we're looking to influence people internally, why should they help me to do my job more effectively or better? And that once again is a push. However, of course, we have another dimension, which is energizing. What is energizing about? Energizing is about being flexible. It's about recognizing the world is not always this way from my perspective, but there's another dimension as well. And one of the key principles there is about being flexible. Now, to do this well will enhance our credibility as business people. Credibility is another one of the cornerstones. So there's 5 dimensions to persuading and influencing. This is the push-pull model. I bring it to life on the program by way of practical examples and illustrations and role plays throughout the program.